Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Snowbeck. Today we are going to cover Unit 8, Lesson 2, and we're going to learn about areas of triangles. And so you've been studying triangles for a long time. The base of the triangle and the height of the triangle are perpendicular. So if we call the bottom the base, like for instance this down here is the base, then the height has to come down and be perpendicular to that base. So the height would be this. And so I'll just label that. And to find the area of a triangle, what you do is you take base times height and divide by 2. Base times height, divide by 2. Number 1, find the perimeter and area of each triangle. And what they're talking about is the shaded triangle. So I'm just going to add that in. Each shaded triangle. So we're going to try to find the perimeter around the blue shaded triangle. And so I can see I know 2 of the sides. I know this side is 19. I know this side is 41, but I do not know this third side. And so what I'm going to need to do is find that side, and I can use the Pythagorean theorem. If I use this triangle over here on the right, I should be able to do 27 squared plus 30 squared equals, I'll say c squared. This has to be our c because it's across from the 90, it's the hypotenuse, it's the longest side. So 27 squared is 729, 30 squared is 900, add them, it's 1629 equals c squared, and then take square root, and the square root of 1,629 is 40.36. Let's put that on our picture. So this is 40.36. Now I can find the perimeter of our shaded triangle. So again, we're going to do the distance around the blue triangle, which will be 19 plus 41 plus 40.36. We add up those 3 sides and we get 100.36, and it's inches. That's the distance around the blue triangle. Next, we're going to find the area of the triangle, which is base times height divided by 2. The base and the height on this one are a little tricky to find. They have to be perpendicular to each other. So imagine the 2 parts of the triangle that would be perpendicular to each other. So it's kind of strange, but it's going to be this 19 right here is the base, and this 30 is the height. Imagine if you take that 30, the height from here to here, if I take that 30 and I move it over, that's the height of that triangle. So the base is 19, the height is the 30. I think you should write that down because I think in this particular problem, it's kind of hard to tell that. So it's good to have it written down. Next, we're going to take 19 times 30 divided by 2. When we type that in, we get 285, and it's going to be inches squared. That's the size or the area of that triangle. 1b, find the perimeter and area of the shaded triangle. Notice I had to fix the instruction there. So we're going to try to find the distance around this blue triangle, but I only know one side, the 29, so I have to find the other 2 sides. I'm going to start by trying to find this side over here in red. And so if I use that triangle off to the left, I can do 6 squared plus, I'll call this x. So plus x squared equals 13 squared. If I use the Pythagorean theorem, I can find that height. 6 squared is 36. X squared we don't know. 13 squared is 169. Then think of what you do next to solve. Subtract 36. X squared equals 133. And then remember you have to square root. And when you type that into your calculator, you get about 11.5. So I'm going to label that. I'll erase this X, and I'm going to label this 11.5. Now remember, if we have a perpendicular angle on one side, we're also going to have a perpendicular angle on the other side. So now I can use the blue triangle, and I can do another Pythagorean theorem. I'll do 11.5 squared plus 29 squared. Maybe I'll call this y equals y squared. So I'm going to do a second Pythagorean theorem. 11.5 squared is 133. 29 squared is 841. Add those together, and we get 974. And then you have to take the square root. So we're going to do square root. And the square root of 974 is about 31.2. Again, I'm going to put that on my picture so that I have it. So this up here is 31.2. Do we now have enough information to find the perimeter? Yes. Remember, we're doing the shaded blue triangle, so we're going to add the 11.5, the 29, and the 31.2. So 11.5 plus 29 plus 31.2. The perimeter of that triangle ends up being 71.7 approximately. 71.7 centimeters. Now let's do the area. Think about our blue triangle. The area formula for a triangle is base times height divided by 2. The base and the height have to be perpendicular. So the base is going to be the 29. The height, what's the height? 11.5. So for area, we're going to do 29 times 11.5 divided by 2. And that is 166.75 centimeters squared. And that's your area. Number 2, you need to buy enough boards to make the frame of a triangular sandbox shown and enough sand to fill it. If one board is 3 feet long and one bag of sand fills 9 square feet of the sandbox, how many boards and bags do you need to buy? So imagine you have like a little brother or sister or a cousin or something, and you're going to build them a sandbox. And so you need to buy some boards and some sands. And you don't have a very big spot in your backyard, so you're going to make it this triangular shape, right? So first of all, to buy enough boards, we're going to need to know the perimeter, the distance around the outside. I think we have all of the information we need to find the perimeter of that shaded sandbox. And so this part for the perimeter, it's just going to be add up 16, 7.5, and 12. So let's do that. 16 plus 7.5 plus 12. And when you add all of those up, you get 35.5, and it's feet. Now the question says, how many boards do you need for that? Well, each board is 3 feet long. So you're going to have to take that perimeter and do something to it. 35.5 divide by 3. Because each board is 3 feet long, you get approximately 11.83. Can you go to Menards and say, hey, I need 11.83 boards? Probably not. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to buy 12 boards, and then you're going to have to cut off one of your boards. Next, we have to figure out how much sand it's going to take to fill this sandbox. According to the problem here, it says one bag of sand will fill 9 square feet. So imagine like you know the area, the surface of this sandbox. Well, if you figure out what 9 square feet is and dump a bag of sand in, it should fill that part. So we need to find the area of this triangular sandbox, which is base times height divided by 2. Now this is a little tricky Your base is down here in blue. Your base is 12. But what is the height of this triangle? The height is actually outside of the triangle. It's the 9. Because if you slide that over, that's what's going to be perpendicular to the base. So a little unusual, it's outside of the box. So 12 times 9 divided by 2. Well, 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 times 9 is 54. So the area is 54 square feet. But we don't want to know the area necessarily. We want to know how many bags of sand we're going to have to buy. Well, one bag fills 9 square feet. So take your area and divide it by 9. And you get 6, which means you're going to need 6 bags of sand. Last one, number 3. Find the value of x. Well, in the picture, x looks like the height of the triangle. But I do notice up here they're giving us the area. Area for a triangle is base times height divided by 2. Let's fill in what we know. Do we know the A? Do we know the area? Yeah, 357. Do we know the B, the base? Yep, 34. Do we know the height? No, that's x. So we'll put an x in there. And then we have to have divide by 2. Now, there's several ways to do this problem, but I think a lot of you are used to going times 2 to cancel out that fraction. So let's do that. Let's take 357 times 2. And when we do that, we get 714. And then we have 34x because the 2's canceled out. Then you're going to divide by 34. And 714 divided by 34 is 21. So did we find what we were looking for? Yes, but we should label it inches. Great. Now you guys try Unit 8 Practice 2. If you need help, let us know. Have a great day.